I've got, we're live.
Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to Commissioners Court, August 26th. We have a full quorum. Carrie, you certify the meeting was properly posted.
Sure.
If you'll please rise for prayer and pledges, Jennifer.
Father, we humbly bow before you this morning, seeking your presence in this courtroom, that you may guide these gentlemen in the direction that you would have them go. Father, we have a large agenda items, and we just ask that you help us to make good decisions, guide us and direct us in all that we do. Father, the verse for today is found in Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 1. Be ye therefore followers of God, as dear children. Father, may we remember that we are children. And Father, may we acknowledge you as our Father. Father, thank you for your guidance of all the residents of Walker County. Thank you for all that you do for Walker County, and may you bless Walker County. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, one and indivisible.
I didn't receive any citizens input. Anybody got any? All right. We're gonna go public hearing. 9:02. Public hearing on Walker County budget for fiscal year October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2024. Anybody want to speak on that? A minute. Oh, 9:03. Public hearing's closed for that. Public hearing on Walker County tax rate increase for fiscal year October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025. Yes, sir.
Apologize, but
Is it 9:05?
it was, I believe, posted in the media as 9:05.
Yeah, we'll give it a couple minutes. On both of them?
No, the first one was posted for 9:00.
Perfect. All right, we'll go to consent agenda. The agenda contains 33 items.
We need to make a correction in number 20, so I guess we need to pull it.
Okay.
Number 8 and number 33 need to be pulled, please. Make a motion to approve the consent agenda, removing number 8, 20, and 30.
Second. Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Number 8.
Number 8, I guess Patricia, was that an increase of the 2%
No, sir.
or same as it was last year? Or
It's just a salary increase. It's still under budget and within our budget.
okay, but how much was the increase is what I'm asking?
I
Can-
didn't calculate it.
10,000?
Way above what we did for everybody else.
No, she's still under market.
The budget, the position is budgeted under market, so it is within the current budget amount. It would exceed 2%. But it is in the current budget and it is budgeted.
Okay, so the money was already set aside
Yes.
when they was hired.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, all right, I
Yeah.
got it.
It turns out that this particular salary is set by that board, and there's a ministerial duty on the part of the commissioners for it to approve it.
I do agree with you, Clinton.
But it's not increased to any of the tax rates.
Not that I have to like it, though. Anyway, I'm a move to approve number 8.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Number 20, approve order 2024-89 for fiscal year 2024-2025.
There were two dates that were, I think, incorrect. Ally, did you know the dates? So it was the March 25th moved to the 24th?
And then
And-
the August one moved to the 20th. August 22nd moved.
Well, 22nd is
Yeah, it moved to the 25th. That
to the
was
25th.
typo.
All right, so I make the motion to approve agenda item number 20, changing the meeting date from March 25th to March 24th and the August 22nd date to August 25th.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 33,
33, I'm consistently against this one every year, so I will not vote for it. If y'all want to make a motion to vote for it, knock your lights out. Otherwise, I'll make a motion to deny it. So,
you gonna go with your motion or?
no, I'm gonna see if anybody else, because
I
I
moved
fail
up.
every year.
I move to approve 33.
I'll second that.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand.
I don't remember. Did I help you last
You
year?
did.
Yeah, you helped me.
Well, then I'll place it-
Opposed? There you go, motion carries.
I hate to change the way I am, it is what it
We'll
is.
go back to a public hearing on Walker County tax rate increase for fiscal year October 1st, 24 to September 30th, 25. Anyone here to speak on it? And time 9:06. Anyone here to speak on that? Seven. We'll close that public hearing. Number 34, discuss and take action on adding a new phone line and internet at a new location. I got your internet figured out.
Yeah,
I don't know about phone line.
well, I got a couple of quotes. And, the only police salesman, something else, okay. Some of this is a little bit hard to understand. AT&T.
Hallie, is Dan
Thank you,
online?
sir. Sir.
And, explain. Yeah.
Internet stuff.
It's internet and phone.
Dan said he's there.
Yes.
What we'd like to do is kind of mirror what we do at the Gibbs Powell House. And so what we do, they'll provide internet connection and a router and a voice line, one voice line for 911, and then also internet. Now, the Verizon is the 2-page. If you look at the second little area there below the top where it says one task access plan. You look to the right, the monthly cost is 25 for the voice line and 300 for the internet.
Has internet figured out, right?
Senior center, we can hook up to their stuff. That's what we do with Bob. With veterans.
Does that provide internet for anybody that's in the
Yes.
so it's Wi-Fi?
Yes.
And, okay, so how would we ride what you guys are already
Do
doing?
that. The Dan's online. He'd set it you up a router. And you just log in.
No cost, really.
No.
Yeah, he didn't tell me anything about that. I had him.
We just got you approved Friday from
Oh,
them.
you did? Okay. So then this would be basically for the phone line.
All right.
That $25, I don't know if you know, but there's a whole list of fees and taxes and things, we're tax free. But there are some fees that'll tack on top of that.
I know once we're waiting on the parking lot, right? So we can run fiber over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once we have fiber, we'll be able to do phone and internet?
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
Dan,
Yes, sir.
Can we do his phone over internet that we're gonna get from senior center?
No, sir. The phone system, it would have to have a direct connection back to the county network for the original phone system. If he gets an additional phone, we can forward his original line to his new phone number so he can still utilize that same number.
Is he gonna be on Walker County guest for his Wi-Fi, or will they have a,
It'll be separate.
okay, all right. That works for me.
We need to figure out on phone.
Yeah.
And I don't know when we're talking about doing parking lot.
Probably this next year. It's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while.
Everybody that uses that office has a cell phone, and I thought about this, but I wanted to ask the court, is there a requirement for in terms of an emergency, to have a 911 capability in that office?
I think our cell phones have 911.
I mean, you can, but it doesn't automatically give the address. When you have a landline like that, you can just pick up the phone and they'll know where you are, but in an emergency, if somebody couldn't speak, they wouldn't be able to say where they are, and you have to do that with cell phone. So
Oh,
I'm
you
not saying
you
that.
drop that new phone, they tell you where you at on a wreck. They high tech nowadays.
Yeah, and I don't know on our network, and maybe Dan can answer this, on our network, if you dial 911 on our network, does it know where you're at, or does it always say you're at the
Walker
annex?
County,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
Currently, the phone system gives the main number, and then there's an additional email. With the new phone system upgrade that we're working on right now, when you call from a extension in a certain building, it will in the future give the proper location, but currently, no.
So what, Scott, what do you have what do you have at the annex? The old office.
He's on our
We're
system.
just riding your system.
All right, so there's no way to tie an extra line in at the senior center? Get
No,
y'all phones for
We don't
now.
have that. And that's what the fiber's gonna do. I had Dan, we talked about that, and he said it would be a while before that fiber got.
Bob doesn't have a phone either. He uses his cell phone.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Could we
Yeah.
do something like
What,
we have?
Veterans has
it-
Veterans has an analog line that's external to our system. It's an old POTS line.
what does Mary have? Do you
They
know?
got a landline.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
should
Cause
get
they called me from
one.
it before.
Yeah, then that's what this stuff is, right? These are landlines?
Those are POTS lines, yeah. Now, the
Is
internet,
landline or internet and phone?
when you get the combined bundle, that includes internet and phone, and it's voice over IP, so the voice goes over.
It's the internet.
Yeah. Until we get something over there, you're not gonna be able to do this.
I'm gonna say, we did like at my shop and Ronnie's shop, we have Dustin Knight's little wireless thing, and it'd just be a matter of setting up a receiver there.
No, cause
We
you
don't
got
have
a tower
tower
right there,
internet.
right?
If you want to go that route, you could do a wireless bridge back to OEM. I don't know how high we could get that mounted. That is a possibility to do a small wireless bridge between the two buildings.
You got a tower right there behind it, Dan. That radio tower is right there behind Butch's building.
Yes, sir.
Dan, if we put the bridge in, as OEM is connected, if we put that bridge in, can we run a phone line through that bridge?
Yes, sir.
Let's look at that route.
That's how mine was.
Can we pass on this and get that
Yeah.
figured out?
I think so, because on that
It's
one,
not,
there is no charge. We own it.
Either one of those there, right? We all have smartphones.
Right.
I'm gonna say we'll pass on 34. And we'll get with that and look at the bridge.
Just for y'all, I mean, I've got a bridge at my house. Home one, it's like $100.
Yeah.
Alright. We'll get Dan on that. Dan, get to work on that.
Yes, sir.
35, discuss and take action on interlocal agreement number 1 with New Waverly ISD for school recess for officers.
Morning, Constable. They all pretty well like it was last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is
number was a little bit more. The wording
Fine.
and thoroughly gone through by our county attorney. And it's good to go for him.
I like the plan.
That's your motion.
That's my motion to approve.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Number 36, agreement for number 2. New Waverly ISD and school recess officer.
Same thing, right?
I'll second it.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Brandon, Brandon,
Brandon did.
Bill second, all approved. 37, interlocal agreement with number 3 with New Waverly ISD.
This one got more money. What's the difference?
Longevity.
Longevity. Okay.
Move for approval.
I'll second that.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Number 38, agreement number 4.
You make a motion yet?
You read it?
Yeah,
Move for
number
approval.
4.
I'll second that.
Moving seconded, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
And we leave.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll sign it after court.
You're not gonna wait,
No,
sir? You're not gonna wait,
you didn't have his paperwork last time when you made us wait.
sir?
And then we didn't have his paperwork ready last time when we had to wait. Number 39, discuss and take action on implementing new EMS schedule.
Morning.
Morning.
So we are thinking about changing our schedule over at EMS. We currently have our 5 trucks and we'll be adding a 6th. I know we've discussed here before that most of our employees don't live in the county, they live outside of the county, so they have quite a commute. Our staff for the past probably year has wanted to try out a 4896 schedule. So we put out a poll. I last looked at it, honestly, it was like 93% of our employees wanted to do the 4896 schedule. I've included a ton of backup. I'm not sure if you guys were able to read through any of
I
it.
did read through it. It was interesting.
It is very interesting. I initially was not on board with it, but I think it would be good for recruitment and retention for our crews. We've implemented kind of a fatigue mitigation plan. We already somewhat do that when the crews get really busy or fatigued, they can call a district chief and get some downtime. That's definitely something we would implement, as well as keeping one truck that's on our current schedule, the 9-way, so they can kind of take the brunt of more of the calls since they're on a 24-hour shift instead of a 48. They can kind of pull some of that weight for the crews that are on for a 48-hour shift. Spoke with Amy and the hours are relatively the same. There's no difference. So if we try this out for a few months and everybody hates it, we could easily switch back to what we're doing now and there would be no change in hours or anything like that. So just kind of wanted to see where y'all are at.
So what's pretty common with areas around us? What do they do?
So ideally, we would have 4 shifts. That's like in a perfect world, but we only have 3 shifts. So with 3 shifts, we only have 3 options. It's the current 9-day that we're on, it's a 4896, or it's what we were previously on, the 2448. So we've done the 2448, we've done the 9-day, and so this is really only our other option. I've reached out to pretty much every department in the region that's on a 3-shift implementation. And everybody that's switched to the 4896, not a single department I talked to had any kind of injury or fleet accidents related to that. Their morale and time off all improved, less sick calls, better kind of work-life balance feel about it. So most of the departments are switching to 4896.
So I guess in a perfect world, 4 shifts would be better, right?
But
Or
I know we're like maybe years and years and years away from that, but that would be like perfect.
Yeah. So I guess the only question I really had was managing people. I know now you've got a lot of people that like to double up on their shifts. I'm assuming you're just gonna manage that in-house with the scheduling.
Yeah, so our current schedule, a lot of people are making their own trade and they're already kind of doing this.
Yeah.
Down in New Waverly, I think they all do the schedule, just the way.
But going from an access of the 48, I guess, I guess that'll be taken care of with the scheduling.
Yes.
As far as somebody trying to do this and then pick up another shift on top of that.
Right,
you know.
so we already have a policy that says if they go over 48 hours, they have to have permit from one of us, not a district chief from one of us. So that's something that wouldn't change. We'd be watching that pretty closely.
So you had a fancy name for it, but basically they're taking safety naps, right?
Yeah, so that's like the industry kind of like term. We obviously currently encourage everybody when they come on shift to do all their station duties, check their truck, do all of their work, their boring work they're supposed to do. And then outside of that, they're running calls and we do encourage them to rest now. So when they're up all night, they're not fatigued. So yes, so we would encourage them if they're not on a call and they're not doing their regular work duties, that they're resting, they're not out socializing, they're not out, playing video games the whole time or whatever they do in their downtime, like they're managing their time. So that's something that our district chiefs would check in on them and make sure they're all getting adequate rest.
Yeah, well, they got
Healthy and hydrated and eating.
a very difficult schedule to live with. I mean, it's hard. Let's put that way.
Yeah, it's hard no matter what the configuration is.
It's hard.
Well, like I said, you try, you don't like it, But
Yeah, it would be an easy switch back.
Hey, I'm good for it.
Two.
So, you do what you need to do.
It's an
Just an
action.
action item?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I want to make the motion to authorize our EMS department to try the new 4896 schedule. And I think with the direction that you follow up in 60 or 90 days and see how you're doing.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Good luck.
Motion carries. 40, discuss and take action on replacement compressor. Larry?
Had a hard time getting these quotes in this week. I had to put copies in. Was discovered during the annual inspection of the chiller here at the courthouse. Pressure tank was locked up. We were able to have it isolated. It did not contaminate the rest of the circuit as far as refrigerant. So we're right now, this building is running on 4 of 5 compressors on the HVAC. The only possible replacement for it is a aluminum part. I'm asking for the lowest bidder, Lone Star Refrigerator. This funded through project conditions.
I haven't time to read this. Does it come with warranty?
Yeah. It's a replacement compressor. It's a standard.
Lone Star's done a good job for us.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we, step number 40, making Lone Star the vendor
Second.
for a dollar amount. Or not, Larry?
It should be the exact number.
You got a source.
16,590.
Your second still saying?
Yes, sir.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 41, discuss and take action on replacing HVAC system at 1313.
We had real bad air conditioning. Last week.
And is it hot down there?
It was some fans, out of birth. There now, way better.
You gonna be able to deal with it? You gonna be able to deal with it for 2 to 3 weeks?
All the bids on this one are 2 to 3 week lead time.
That's the good news today, is 2 to 3 to 4 weeks maybe.
But it's coming.
But it's coming.
But yes, we do have portable air units down there, a swamp cooler and several circulating fans keeping them cool down there.
How long has it been down, Andy?
Within what, last week? Last week.
Okay.
Punch him every chance you can, Larry.
Sir?
I said punch him up every chance you can. I'll make a motion, we award it 41 to Lone Star, not to exceed 10,638.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 42, presentation on department procedure to register fleet vehicles. Cheryl?
In your second?
Orange,
Lauren, Miss Cheryl,
good.
I really don't know yet till you get through talking. I'll comment after I hear what you got to say.
What do you want?
Where to?
So purchasing has been doing all the vehicle registrations in the county. And it is a voluminous, and you can imagine. So we had made instructions on for everybody. We had decided to move it back to the departments for them to keep up with their vehicle registrations. It is time consuming on our part because I have one person doing all of them. And she has a hard time keeping up with them, making sure everything is done, and her purchasing duties as well. So I looked at policy, and policy 219 stated that the department heads as well as elected officials, I'll read it verbatim.
And this is in our policy,
Yes, Walker County
which
personnel.
can be changed, right?
219.
Okay.
It can be, but right now, as it, well, I'll tell you in a minute. I'm so sorry. The county's fixed assets will be reasonably safeguarded and properly accounted for. Responsibility for the safeguarding of the county's fixed asset lies with the department head or elected official in whose department the fixed asset is assigned. Each department is responsible for maintaining a list of assets in their department. So with that being said, we are putting that responsibility back on the departments. And we had fixed out a spreadsheet for each department that owns a vehicle with their vehicle information. We would take or are taking all of your notices, address changes, and stuff. We're making the necessary changes for them so that the departments will be receiving the notice to register their vehicles when it comes time, and trying to help out a little bit downstairs. And then once you have that and all of that, the notices will come to the individual departments. And they will take it down to vehicle registration and do it just like you do your personal vehicles and the county vehicle. There is a payment on file downstairs that they will notify that person at the window, and they will use that payment to do it. And then I guess tags will be issued to that person to take back to put on their vehicles. Now that's
Let me hold you right there before you get too far down the road. I don't think, I may be the same or not. The purchasing department doesn't have, I'm gonna use the word authority, whatever, to delegate out to the other 22 department heads. But they're gonna do. They don't get to do that. Now, we are responsible for our assets. That's in the policy. But it doesn't mean we're going to do everything. That's management versus doing everything. We don't let our departments do their own insurance, even though they're quote responsible for that, because we want to be sure that it gets done. And that's how the registration, I'm assuming, is set up that way with a centralized location. Hang on a second, whoa, stop. I waited for you there. So for me, we have 20-something vehicles or whatever in my department. Then we manage Road and Bridge General also. And so I visited with, what I called Commissioner Kirkendall and talked to him. And I've talked to a couple other department heads, and I haven't found a single one that wants to take this on or that wants it spread out amongst the county. With how many vehicles that we have, we need to be sure that they get done, not just in my department, but all over the whole county. That's our responsibility. So at some point, somebody looked at purchasing and said, you're responsible for that, and we're going to give you a person for that, and we're going to pay you for that. So it got put, I wasn't here when it happened, but I haven't found anybody here that ever remembers it being at the department level. It's always been centralized. So I have no desire for this to be spread out. I don't know if that's something we do up here at court. Worst case, every department head should have been polled and said, this is what we're thinking. What do you think? And some might have said, hey, I've only got one car. I'll manage my one car. I'm good with that. There's 100 or better sitting up here that we got a lot of stuff going on. That's not,
And then you've got the sheriff department, you've got probably what, 70?
Yeah,
Well,
so,
Largest inventory by far.
yeah, so I don't see any reason to change it. January 1, or is it September 1? What year do the inspections go? January 1? January 1 inspections go away. So now it's just a matter of, hey, here's your renewal slip, register it, send it on back and get it done. And by having it centralized, there's one list of assets. There's not a whole bunch of them. And when we get ours done, who in the county is responsible for making sure that they all get done? So you still have a centralized person. You have to. You can't just turn it out to 22 departments and 4 elected people or 4 appointed people and say, handle it. You can't do it. So I think we pause on this. I don't think we change it at all. That's my thought. So I'll leave it with anybody else wants to speak up.
I don't think we need to change it either. That's my personal thoughts, but if we need to change that policy to fit where it stays in your office, I have no problem doing that.
Okay, so I'm gonna correct Mr. Doggett, excuse me, Commissioner Doggett. It was given to purchase. It was originally in the auditor's office. And when Charlesa was hired into purchasing, she brought it with her.
Okay.
Well, Ms. Cheryl, I've been here
I'm gonna have to
for
ask
27 years, and I don't, it's never been in our department, so I can tell you that.
Right.
Well, and again, I sent this notice out. What was it? 1st of August?
Yes, I don't know when.
October. I've not had a phone call from any of you people voicing any concern.
You have been notified by me accurately saying I wanted this as an agenda item. And we missed the last meeting. So let's stay off of that topic because I did say I want this an agenda item and it didn't happen.
So sad. If you have a problem, pick up the phone and call somebody and discuss it. I've not had a phone call from anybody except you with an email.
Right. Yeah. Asking for you to put this on the
And I don't
item.
have a problem visiting with each and every one of you to discuss this. But I would appreciate a phone call to let me know. Now, we have tried to make it as effortless as possible for the departments to take it over. It's not a purchasing requirement. And if you want it centralized, then I don't have a problem giving it to somebody else to centralize it. But it should not be in our office. You are correct. There's 250. I've talked to the sheriff, not the sheriff's office. I'm sorry, Sheriff. I talked to the jail, Captain Dabla, and he said he didn't have a problem taking all of his vehicles over because he used to do this. He said it's nothing for him to go in and do it because I had asked him about registering his alias vehicles. And he said, that's not a problem either. We'll be more than happy to do that.
Ms. Patricia, have you ever had it in your office?
The only part that I'm aware that we've ever dealt with, when an invoice comes in, we send it to the department to process.
Hmm.
And that department we've historically sent it to is purchase.
Well, I mean, under the 262 says in here every July that y'all are supposed to sit down and asset everything.
Mhm.
Okay. And you also do disposal, right? Everything goes through purchasing for disposal.
Correct.
So why not is registering a vehicle fall in there?
It has nothing to do with registering a vehicle. It has
It is
everything to
keeping
do
that
with
vehicle in
disposal.
compliance. Yeah. For the longevity of its life,
And we do keep vehicles, I mean.
just as
when-
insurance is,
Well,
everything else.
we do fixed assets. We do everything as far as the insurance purposes go. We title it, we keep the title and everything in there. But again, as far as the vehicle registration, it is an act of Congress to get people to, number one, and I guess I get it, it's going away in January, to get their vehicles inspected and get us the notice in a timely manner. It's horrible, and then we have to keep up with it.
Okay,
But
I'm
yes.
also gonna remind you there, Cheryl, you give up a position.
That's where I was going right there.
If this was too much for the 3 people you got in your office, you give up a position last year.
I don't think we took it. I think you give it up or
We
maybe.
took it.
What
Cause
did we do with it?
we rolled it back in general fund money.
Because you
I
didn't.
didn't get that option. I didn't get that option.
Croswell was
Right.
talking that, she had it posted for years and never hired nobody. They talked, that office down there talked about she was never gonna hire it. She just wanted the money in there. So we did away with it because they didn't need to answer the phone. It was just
You did away
Position.
with it since Cheryl been there, you did away with it since.
we did away with it when Cheryl came in.
Yeah, when I came in last year in July, it was already said and done. I got what I got.
We did away with that position in that computer program when Cheryl got here.
I'm still not for it either way. I mean, I hate it, but it's gonna create a mess. You have one person that's been doing this generalized central location the whole time, ever since I can remember. And I've been here a while. And to dump it back on the departments, it's gonna be a mess. So we do what we have
It's
to.
only gonna be a mess if you don't pay attention to what needs to happen. You get notification in the mail 2 months prior to your vehicle being registered.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
get 2
So
months.
in that process, if it comes to a generalized location, your office, how hard is it for somebody to have this on a spreadsheet? Run through there once a month. When it comes 2 months early, send out an email. You tagged your date.
You're correct, and we do that, and we don't have to do that anymore if you do it. If that notification comes to you, we provided you a spreadsheet that has all of your vehicles listed on it. We provided you that spreadsheet of when it was registered, when we received the notice. I mean, that spreadsheet has all the information on it. All you have to do is when you receive that in the mail, is go get your vehicle registered. Then there's no emailing them back. There's no emailing anybody to say, hey, in 2 months, your vehicle's gonna expire or registration's gonna expire. Please go get it inspected, mail me the inspection, or have it, whatever needs to happen to it, for vehicle registration to get it. And then you take your paperwork down there and register it.
So you're still involved.
I wouldn't be, because all the notices are gonna come to you guys. And you will take the responsibility to go down there, get number one, get your vehicle inspected up until January. And then take that little paper in and say, I've had my vehicle inspected, I wanna register this. They're gonna give you the tags instantly. Whereas now, we send you an email stating that it's time for you to go get your vehicle inspected. We send another email out in 2 weeks to remind you, and we still got 2 months, okay? So then when the notice, when we don't get notice that because y'all were supposed to send us the email that the registration has happened or the inspection has happened, then Laura goes downstairs. And if she has more than 3 or more, she has to tend to her 3 and then go get in the back of the line because they will only process 3 at a time for her. So then she sits there and processes 3, gets in the back of the line, walks back up and processes the rest of them. Sometimes she'll have 10 to 12 to do.
So you don't have enough help to do this, or you just don't want to do it?
Both.
You know, in the real world, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
You're correct.
You work for
You would take.
judges and government is the reason we're having it today, because in the real world, I'd send you home. You know, I mean, but I can't do that because you work for those judges, and maybe this one too, I don't know. But
So how you get your stickers? You go put them on the vehicles now?
No.
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 In the mailbox for us to pick up in the treasurer's office, and we don't know that they're there. We don't get an email. Unless Kim Landrum, she emails me and says, hey, you have mail, which I have no idea how long it's been there.
Laura sends out an email to let them know that the stickers are in there. She does, Carrie.
I kind of am the mediator with the fire department. On the fire department trucks.
Sheriff, you've been standing for a while. I know you need to comment
I
on.
just want to tell you that, first of all, me and my department do not. I can't imagine the process that was just explained of taking a deputy off the street in order to go do that, because we're already running, as y'all know, we're running light on our staff. But I do not, support it at all. I think it's gonna cause a lot of problems. As a matter of fact, in addition to that, Diana, with the vehicle registration, can tell you a little bit more on the problems that she has identified as well.
Diana, would you comment, please?
One, out of all of our exempt agencies, City of Huntsville, Sam Houston State, TDCJ, HST, just to name a few in the county, there is one point of contact, one. So when TDCJ has 5,000 exempt that we do a year, we talk to one person. We do not talk to this unit about how many cars they got, what they got to register. That's one point. The second point would be is anytime an exempt agency has 10 vehicles, you just drop them off with your check and we'll do it. We'll say, hey, come pick them up. They're already, you don't have to stand in line. You're government. You don't have to stand in line. You just tell us you got 10, drop them off the check. The second thing is if it goes back to the department, these detectives or constables or whoever, it's not just go get an inspection, go down and get your sticker. They've got to do a check request to the auditor's office or find a way to pay it. We don't just give out free stickers. So it's a little bit more of a process than you just come down to my office and we just get you one, even if you're with the county. So that's just a few things to name a few. I just think it'd be easier for people that are trained to do it, that know what they're doing, they're titling it, and they're registering it. So I don't know why we would want to send that out to possible departments that really don't have staff that even know how to do it or staff that can do it because they're all doing other functions. Just my.
And again, TDCJ has a fleet management as well as in Houston.
You got 225 vehicles roughly. They have 5,000.
I get it, but that's why they have a point of contact. They have a motor pool for TDCJ that they manage all their vehicles, whether it comes inspections down to maintenance and everything to them. So I wouldn't even put us in that same category.
So have you run this by the judges that you work for?
I did.
And what's their response?
They said, if it feels necessary, then form it out.
I talked to the other departments, they didn't have a problem with it. But I didn't talk to y'all. I talked to Bill.
You shouldn't talk to.
Bill called me.
everybody
All right.
Because it'd be a forum, and if Bill's done that, I'm just saying.
I talked to Danny Kirkendall and the judge called me and gave me his comments. And our conversation was, we can't talk much because I've already talked to another commissioner. So he basically just said what he
So
said.
these guys are very good about that.
And we've been trying to get this on court for a month.
2 weeks.
Yeah, move me. I'll do them. I'll take them on. I'll walk down there and get them done.
If not, give her the employee back.
Yeah.
Either that or I'm gonna ask for another employee.
Well, I have to say this should, the other ones,
She didn't have a choice on that one. So,
So,
that wasn't her option. Send them to my office. I'll do them. I'll walk down there. Y'all can come to my office and pick your sticker up. Anybody got a problem with that?
Yeah, I still think we need to handle this policy, and we change it in the policy. It needs to stay in one generalized location. That's my opinion. However, we need to get there to do it.
On generalized location, the county judge's office.
we need to put that in our policy then, right?
All right, rewrite the policy and we'll put it on court next week, or 2
Well, I
weeks.
think- Listen, we took that away. I remember taking that away when Cheryl just walked in the door, that position away. There's obviously
I
enough.
ain't gonna say take it away, Brandon. It was given up. We didn't take it away. It was given up. We don't need this, is what we were told.
Well, we realize that we need it now.
Well, so that's when you give something back.
Okay, I'll be.
All right, any other discussion? 43, discuss and take action on solicitation for,
No,
What?
it wasn't
There's no action. Discuss and take action on solicitation for wash limestone.
I'd like to table that till the very end on the, what's it called, the workshop. Due to the fact that they are not wanting to renew their contract. And I need to,
We'll come back to 43. 44, discuss and take action on purchase of a 18,000 pound GVWR bumper pool wide deck low boy gravity tilt trailer for precinct 3.
is that you? That's you. Okay, so these have several items on it that we're looking at the very first one. Well, there's several agenda items that follow that go with this, but just look at the first one.
Yeah, we've been hauling our skid steer and mini X on a trailer, and it's too big for the trailer we haul it on. So this one here is 18, I think it's 18,000 pounds, what it is. And it'll put it where it's supposed to be.
Talking about giving things up, didn't you give up one?
But a trailer?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I wouldn't got his trailer.
It was yours to begin with, though, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
You don't have
You didn't know all that.
You don't have to know everything.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I borrowed it one time too.
You know how it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll make the motion to approve agenda item 44 using Department of Budget and Funds. Texas Pride trailers for $10,095.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 45, discuss take action on tiebreaker for solicitation C2 360-24-012 Crush Concrete.
Yeah, this is fresh concrete. And if you'll notice down there at the bottom, the two vendors have the same price for RMB one for the delivery. We need to do a tiebreaker.
I got my coin. We're gonna flip a coin. Which one's which? Who we got? Who's the two?
Someone-
vendors?
This is
Who is,
heads or tails.
who's this Rebel contractors? Who are they? They local?
Yes,
One down there in Willis, right?
Okay,
They're right there in Shepherd Hill.
so both of them pick up at the same place? 'Cause a lot of times the pickup has a lot to do with where you go. I mean,
And we're doing delivered right now, though.
oh, okay, all right, okay, never mind, all right.
Here.
And I'm
I
gonna
got it
put
behind.
Rebel as the
Right.
badge,
All right.
Slide as a star.
All right.
Badge one
Okay,
as Rebel.
so Rebel will be primary. For delivery, he'll be primary for delivery for RMB 1, 2, 3, and 4. As well as pickup.
So
Rebel will? Yes,
and Rebel's gonna have, right now the pickups and right there at Shepherd Hill, but they're crushing plant out there on 30. It's gonna be closer to you guys that you'll be able to pick up over there.
Okay. Whereabouts on 30?
I don't want to misspeak, but I believe the Gibbons power plant crushing that whole thing. So that'd probably be closer to you than going to Shepherd Hill.
I ain't going to Shepherd Hill, that's out. Our trucks won't make it that far and back.
Okay, do we get a motion for that?
So the tiebreaker? No, we've done that one.
We did the tiebreaker.
What did we,
Now, then
we need to vote on it?
But where's,
Then discuss and take action.
You got to award it.
We're gonna award the Rebel.
that was on,
tiebreaker, that was
Okay.
45.
Okay,
all right, now you're talking about pickup, right?
Well, we still need to make a motion.
Yes. So will our motion be just authorize the judge to flip a coin
There you
to
Okay.
award a primary, and somebody will second that?
second.
Second.
Okay, then all,
All in favor, raise your right hand.
all right.
Yeah, we flipped already. Rebel won. Okay, 46. Discuss take action on the award of solicitation C2360-24-012.
Move to approve for this presentation.
To Rebel. Contract.
Rebel is primary,
Okay.
oath, and then Scott is a secondary on,
So we have an alternate 1 and we have an alternate 2.
yeah, let's back up just a second.
Yeah.
I'm glad you reminded me.
Yeah.
So during this last, off on my motion for a second. During this last deal, hurricane and everything, we've been having problems getting materials. And, what I would like to see is Rebel primary for pickup and delivery. Slot would be the alternate 1 for delivery. And Texas Materials Group would be the alternate 1 for pickup. But also we'd like to have an alternate 2. So we have, if 1 and 2's out, we can go to 3. That would be Texas Materials Group for delivery. And then the third alternate, or the second alternate would be Slot Construction for pickup.
If that's not confusing.
Complicated. For our policy, if we have the primaries out, we get a notification through email. And then do a secondary or alternate 1, we can stick to our policy, get an email saying, hey, we're out of material, and then have the option to go to the alternate number 2.
So you're setting Slot as alternate 1. And then the reasoning, what's gonna be your justification that Texas Materials Group,
If Rebel's
alternate
out,
3.
Slot's out, then Texas Materials Group.
they have the same price.
But they get the same price, yeah. That's Texas Material.
I will flip a coin.
Location.
Location, that's what I was gonna say.
Location.
For location.
Yeah,
Where's Slot, where are you picking his up at though? That's got the key to do with it. Is he gonna have it on site somewhere? It says Willis,
Slots, I didn't ask him
We're not-
because of this.
because I mean, that's the key to when we award this stuff, is where you gotta go to get it.
But when it's delivery, it doesn't.
Doesn't matter on delivery, but
matter.
But
So-
Texas Material will be your alternate 1 for
Right.
pickup.
So for,
Yeah.
right, for pickup, Rebel will be the first because they're closer. Texas Materials Group would be number 2. They're the same price, but they're further distance to travel. And then the third pickup would be Slot.
yeah, but I still would like to know where you're picking up though, because he got material in New Waverly too, you know. This says Willis, but is that what he said on his bid packet? Okay. I'm good with it if that's where it's at, but I mean, if it was New Waverly, I'd have to go with him as primary.
I get you, but he stated Willis.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
that do
fine.
your motion?
So my motion is to approve this,
as presented there.
as presented.
With Slot,
After the torn polish.
okay, so Slot would be alt 1 and Texas Material Group, so alt 2 based on distance for
Yes.
delivery, correct?
Mhm.
Okay,
Got all that, Karen?
all right.
Got it?
Those-
Motion, second. Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 47, discuss take action on award solicitation C2360-24-013 ambulance billing service and collection services.
Original solicitation for ambulance billing and collection services, for EMS. We received the proposals in, we did a score did a best and final offer. We had 4 vendors to submit an offer. 2 of them didn't meet minimum, so we didn't evaluate them. So these 2 that you see here were the ones that were evaluated and negotiated with for best and final offer. The EMS management and consultants had the highest score of 95. Digitech Computers had a score of 76.25. And your
95 and what?
76.25.
76.25. And the recommendation from the technical and cost team is to award it to EMS management and consultants.
Okay, so one of the,
Who was on this committee that picked this?
The technical team was EMS, which was Chief Rachel Parker, Dr. Tovar, and Lynn Nelson. And the cost team was Amy Kolinsky. So sorry.
so one of the issues we had with the one that we're going away from was the access to the bank account. And then the holding off on invoices being paid until they were approved by corporate. Did we address that in this RFP? And
We did. The EMS management and consultants has unlimited, I mean, you can get in there at any point in time, have access to the bank accounts to view, look at, you can ask for any type of report that you want at any given time with no extra charge.
Cheryl, y'all involved?
In the county's name.
Yes.
She had a list of
Whatever.
questions. to answer.
Yes. You can verify that, but that, yes, yes.
Okay.
Where's this company located out of?
They have an office in Dallas.
Save us some money.
So how did this go? I mean, I know Miss Patricia had lots of questions before. Was she involved in this?
She provided me her questions and they were sent to these vendors that we negotiated with answers.
I've not seen the answers, but.
Okay.
I'd like to see the answers to Patricia before I vote on this.
I know I would.
I'm not gonna vote on it otherwise, I can tell you that, because that's where the problem has been the whole time.
We ain't gonna have nobody.
Yeah, keep in
next
mind.
Sunday.
Yeah, we got to pick somebody. We got to pick somebody. And when,
Yeah, because this contract ends now. Again, your questions, if you'd like to ask, I'll be more than happy to answer.
I'd rather see them from the vendor.
Sure.
So when does this fall flat on its face?
8:31.
The questions that she had, they had answered them in the offer.
Okay.
But you still haven't seen the answers to my problem.
I have not.
Well,
I have read the proposals and it seems like a very good company. I have concerns really to ask.
It really wasn't towards them. It was more, but I mean, we did ask those questions to both vendors.
Right.
It was mainly.
I'll tell y'all, I'm not voting on it till Patricia's happy, so I'll just, if we have to have another court, let's put it off till tomorrow, so.
A committee was appointed, the committees made a recommendation, and if Cheryl is telling me that my 2 major concerns were answered by the vendor, I have no reason to doubt that. I would like to see them.
Well, I mean, I still have an issue because I've sat on these committees, and if I differ with the committee's opinions, then I at least have a vote up here. Well, once we put this in place, we're stuck with it.
We'll work with whatever we're given. As
Okay,
long as the county, the money is and Amy has continual access to look at and withdraw that money at will.
Yeah.
And they verified that.
I'm gonna make the motion to approve agenda item 47, awarding EMS billing and collection services to EMS Management and Consultants Incorporated.
I still don't like it.
Hold on, that Bill. Rachel, what's your take on this? Have you had any dealings with any of these people?
So I personally have not worked with this company or the other one that we evaluated. I do know from this company that we're wanting to go with, the clients that they use, the lot in this region, departments that I'm familiar with, good department. So that's kind of a plus right there. The other company didn't really have any clients. I think we're gonna get more with this company, for sure than the other one. They have kind of a huge suite of like portal options, reports, dashboards that we could run, that we have access to. And they do have a portal that will give feedback to our crew as well on what they work on documentation wise. So that's a plus for us. They seem like a pretty solid company out of the.
And we're gonna sign a contract with them? For how many years?
It's a 1-year contract with 4 1-year renewals.
Locked in at this price?
Yes, sir.
It's locked in, but you know, that don't mean anything at the annual.
Yeah, but they can only go up a percentage.
What was the full name of the business?
EMS Management and Consultants, Inc.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your right hand.
I can't
All
go on.
opposed?
Just one.
That's one.
Just wrong.
Motion carries.
Still not happy with y'all getting.
48, discuss and take action on the award of solicitation C 2360-24-014. Pursuit vehicle Dodge Durangos.
The Dodgers are back.
So, in front of y'all have the bid tab for the recommendation of award for the Dodge Durangos.
I'll make a motion to approve item 48, awarding Wisky Dodge vehicles for purchase.
Did we spec a 2024 or 2025 specifically, or did we say new and unused, or because one guy bid at 25 and one guy bid at 24? So what was in our language when we got?
24. We asked for 24.
All right.
And did you second?
Yes.
Moved and second, Danny. Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 49, discuss and take action to purchase a used bucket truck for maintenance not to exceed 40,000.
Well, Larry has expressed interest in getting a bucket truck. And I am here to ask for the expenditures for a bucket truck. He had originally asked for over 70,000, and I had been finding some out there for a whole lot less on auctions and so forth. And we're here to ask for at least 40,000. We feel like that would get us a good used vehicle that would be operational for their department to where they can use.
Larry, what would it take to fix the one you got? Are we to the point it's not worth spending any money on, or where are we at with it?
The tables haven't been replaced, at least for
What then?
tables,
What would it cost to do all that?
anywhere from 8 to 10,000.
Is the rest of it okay if you do that?
It's really pretty worn out. We get a lot of hydraulic leaks on it. Every third or fourth time that we take it out, we gotta stop and.
But their problem is they have to have somebody else drive it because none of their people have CDLs.
So the one you're looking at getting is gonna be below 26,000 pounds?
Yeah, it'd be like a one.
Like a one-ton.
One-ton truck?
With a better bucket on it too. We've used the one recently, and the little leveler on the bucket is messed up. It'll have you like at a 45-degree angle until you kind of hit it just right and it lets you go. So
Well, they're supposed to be certified every. so many
Absolutely.
things.
Yeah.
And I know it probably hadn't been done. I don't.
Probably since we actually bought the thing, it was certified when we got it, right, Larry?
No, I've been getting it inspected.
Have you?
Yeah.
And you'll continue with this new one, I hope, so.
Yes.
and I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm,
Do we have like a budgeting amount, an account? Have you checked with, for an account to get this out of, Blair?
sorry.
Did you find an account to get, I know you wouldn't have the money, so do you have an account? Have you checked with Patricia or whoever to find out?
Sure about it.
Okay, Cheryl, yeah,
Get it down here and get it in front of you.
okay, well, we gotta get the money from somewhere, so what account would we pull it out of?
Where'd you pay for them generators at,
Well,
Capital project.
Oh, project.
capital projects,
Project.
project
Project
contingency. Is that the same?
All right, and I guess Larry, the intent is to
sell the other.
find this one, sell the other one and put it back towards what you buying.
Unless y'all want to keep it.
There's no reason to keep it if you can't use it.
Yeah.
No.
Okay,
Yes, I would like to alternate, put the proceeds.
all right, well, I'll make the
Maybe go
motion.
back to two.
Hmm?
We go back to two. Did you figure out what you put in it?
I'm not even going to research it. It's too far back.
You used it enough to justify what you put in.
Hey, man, we
Sorry,
used
Bill.
it, when we first got that thing, we used it forever on those trees.
Right.
Go ahead.
I'm approve agenda item. I make a motion to approve agenda item number 40 to be paid for by project
49.
contingency. Number 49, I scribbled it all out. 49, not in the amount not to exceed $40,000.
Moving second, all in favor and raise your hand. Motion carries. 50, discuss and take action on order 2024-84, amending the budget fiscal year ending September 30th. 2024.
What the outrage your attention is a request, excuse me, request by IT to change the name of the position that's budgeted at the same pay grade as the other, but we had a network administrator budgeted and the name that he would prefer is system administrator. Both are in our pay classification system at the same pay grade. So requesting that be done. Requesting 39,973 transferred out of the general fund contingency. 15,000 of this would be to transfer to the courthouse security fund. Collections there aren't quite enough to cover the budget. And then to our elections budget for election workers, 24,973. Central cost, 1,000 transferred from our insurance deductible to the
I can see it up there.
CDA fund. 4,018, the balance of the repairs there to be funded from insurance proceeds. Collections, the money coming in from contingency. And then transferring out of our central courts budget to the other courts. And the money going into the courthouse security fund. EMS transferring $97,555 from the EMS contingency fund to the billing services of $55,000, insurance of $25,555, and vehicle repair of $40,000. And then on the second page, moving the $150,000 in road project to the, excuse me, senior center parking lot.
They're gonna asphalt that. Concrete it.
No, we're gonna concrete. If I get anything. Only thing's gonna hold up there.
You'll get my vote. Since you stole my money.
I'll make a motion. We accept order 2024-84.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 51, discuss and take action on order 2024-87, classifying fund balance in the financial statement.
This is something we do every year that basically defines where the fund balance will go. Any money left in general fund goes basically back to general fund. Any money in EMS stays in EMS. Any money in road and bridge stays in road and bridge. And of course, the legislative fund stays in the fund where the money was collected.
Move to approve item 51 as presented.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr.
52, discuss and take action on line Tomfoolery LLC to apply for TABC license to sell alcohol on county property during Fair on the Square.
Well, I've been pretty vocal on that one too, so you know I'm gonna be against it.
That's my motion.
So be against it.
To accept 52.
At least you try, huh?
Yeah. I thought I had to judge.
But
Yeah, I'm with Ronnie on this one. We don't allow alcohol on our property anywhere. So,
Yeah, we don't have no place for alcohol on our county buildings and properties. That's just the way I
So
feel
is
about it.
anybody else doing it down there? I mean, it's
Down.
during the fair on the square.
Yeah, this is it. This is replacing that beer garden thing that they
Yeah.
did last year.
I think we need to find another parking lot.
So.
We might have your vote, Tim.
I think I helped you last year. I think Bill bailed last year.
Yeah, Bill did. Moved and second, all in favor, raise your right hand.
You're the only one that
All
went down there, Bill.
opposed?
was that really?
All opposed?
Motion passes.
So,
I screwed
Three
you
to
up.
two.
I screwed it
Against.
up.
White and
Yeah, I was running my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So,
voted
I
for
voted for it.
Man.
Yeah, I was trying to take it early.
Yeah.
53, discuss and take action on a amended agreement with Harts Museum to use remaining funds, $862.50 for pressure washing the breezeway. This is their leftover ARPA funds that they had left after fixing the flagpole. And that's my
Sounds good.
motion.
Second.
Move second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 54, discuss and take action on paying the remaining balance for pressure washing Harts Museum breezeway in the amount of $637.50. That's my motion.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 55, discuss and take action on filling a vacant position on the Board of Emergency Service District 1 with the appointment of Coy Clayton.
I'll make the motion to approve agenda item 55 as presented.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 56, discuss and take action on acceptance of the donation of crushed concrete from Ward Tractor Works for Precinct 3. That's you, Bill.
That is me. Yeah, sorry, I was answering a question
That's okay.
over here too. There's a guy here in town that is gonna be tearing down some buildings and tearing up some in-place slabs and foundations for houses. And I've got a lot of use for crushed concrete being donated, so I'll make the motion to approve agenda item 56.
Second for you.
Okay, I'm present, not voting. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, motion passes. 57, discuss and take action on any changes to be made to the budget filed with the county clerk for fiscal year October 1, 2024 to September 30th, 2025.
If anybody got any changes, I'm just gonna hit back with like this.
I do have a request for change.
Oh, my.
Oh, boy. Get out of the way.
It's very.
Y'all moving?
Change the name of the position in IT from the network to the system administrator. And then there were a couple of typos, 24s that should have been 25s and 20 fiscal years. Correct those. And then, of course, the budget that's actually printed will have additional narrative and graphics as part of that budget.
So there's no dollar change. Yeah.
No dollar.
I don't have to hit them.
All right, I'll make the motion to approve agenda item 57, change in the title from the IT from network administrator, system administrator, and authorized to make small graphical clerical changes that do not impact the fiscal budget.
Second.
Moving signal, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 58, discuss and take action by record vote to ratify the property tax revenue increase reflected in the budget for Walker County for the fiscal year October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025 as required by LGC 111.008, Section C, when adopting a budget that will require more revenue from property taxes than the previous year.
I'll make the motion to approve agenda item number 58 as presented.
I'll second that.
Starting with Commissioner Kirkendall.
Voting for it.
4.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. 59, discuss and take action on order 2024-85 by record vote adopting the budget for Walker County for the fiscal year October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve agenda item 59 as presented.
Second as presented.
Record vote. Commissioner Kirkendall.
4.
4.
4.
Motion carries. Number 60, discuss and take action on order 2024-86 by record vote adopting the tax rate for fiscal year October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025, in the total amount of 0.4403 per 100 of assessed taxable valuation, consisting of the operational rate of 0.4208 per 100 of assessed taxable valuation and a debt rate of 0.0195 per 100 of assessed taxable valuation.
Judge, I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a total tax rate of 0.03, which is effectively a 6.69% increase in the tax rate. Tax rate of 0.195 for debt service and a tax rate of 0.4208 for maintenance and operations, and approve order 2024-86 adopting the rate.
Second.
Second, all in favor, raise your right hand.
That'd be by record vote.
Yep.
Oh, well, yeah. Oops, sorry.
That's all.
4. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Patricia, for the hard work and dedication, and I can't think of enough kind words to give you. I don't have very many in me.
Andy, you ready?
So,
All right, 61, public hearing concerning plat number 2024-024, replat of lots 39 and 40, block 2, section 10 of Wildwood Shores subdivision. Time is 10:16. Anyone here to speak on it?
where are we at?
61. This is the same as normal? Amy?
Does anybody against this one?
Just ask.
Does anybody?
All right, time is 10:17. Public hearing is closed. Number 62, discuss and take action on plat number 2024-024, replat of lots 39 and 40, block 2, section 10 of Wildwood Shore subdivision.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 63, discuss and take action on Kevin and Stephanie Holzer, Susan L. Mitchell request for variance to section B 2.1, the Walker County subdivision regulations regarding minimum road frontage for plat number 2024-008, replat of lots 19 and 20 of Prescott Estate subdivision.
Move to approve.
Andy, you got anything to say about it?
All right.
Prescott's an old subdivision. It's got the 60-foot right of ways. Our current policy 75 foot. So that was my motion, just to approve it as is.
Second, man.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 64, discuss and take action on Terry and Alma Frazier's request for variance to sections B 2.2, B 2.3 of the Walker County subdivision regulations regarding lot depth to width ratios for plat number 2024-012 Jones Road Ranch Equestrian Estates.
Mike, you want to talk about this a little bit after Andy?
And scroll down to the. We've already been here once for this, we just forgot this other. We didn't think the lot needed it, but I guess lot thought we did, so we're just adding it to it.
Okay, so this lot right here is sort of the lot that's in question here in the middle. This is a flag here. Flag here. This is, right? I mean, under our code, this covenant will kick out, doesn't necessarily resemble a true flag. So it would be, if we measured it as a regular lot, it would be around 1 to 4 instead of 1 to 3. If we looked at it as a flag, if you guys wanted to consider this flag by staff, then it would fall under the rules. So it's written as 4 court. So the court's good with this, up to a 1 to 4 regular lot. No objection to these.
Yeah. I'm going to approve.
I'll second that.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 65, discuss and take action on Forester Real Estate Group Incorporated request for variance to section B 3.4.1 of the Walker County subdivision regulations regarding points of access for plat number 2022-037 Peach Creek Forest.
You have some bags.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If y'all state your name for Ms. French.
I'm not gonna read this.
I'm Holiday then with Fort Star.
Morning, Court.
Morning.
Mark Burgess with Elevation Land Solutions, and we are the engineer for the Peach Creek Forest Development. So, there's a little bit of history on this track that I'd like to talk first before we get to it. But, several months ago, he had approached the court with a couple of variances. And, do you mind if I step up to the screen?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Appreciate it. So what was originally shown for this track is there was going to be section 1 that was right in this area with a proposed west and east entrance. So sandwiched by the 2 access roads into the development. So whenever Forestar began looking at the track to buy from Chris Wren, they brought us in to look at the high level feasibility of the track. The issue that we started finding, and it's the very last sheet of the packet that was just given out, is there's a giant hill in the middle of where that section is. The low point of that section is the west side. So to bring flow from the east side of the track to the west, you'd be cutting 20+ feet through that hill in order to make it work. And so what that does is you generate a ton of excavation in your phase 1, and you have to move all that to the south side of your property. Basically, you're doing a detention mass grading for your entire development before you can deliver any lot. So what we then proposed is, what if instead of your section 1 being up here, we did our section 1 on this side, because it balances perfectly with that west pond. The pond provides enough detention storage for the section, and you would still have your primary entrance road. The only thing that would be non-standard to Walker County is we would be unable to build this as a permanent paved roadway day 1, because to put it at final grade, you're looking at severe excavation. Again, that triggers detention mass grading of the whole site. So what we were proposing is permanent paved entrance, all-weather access road that would come from this east side. So a couple of months ago, we met with Commissioner Decker, with Mr. Andy Isbell, and we talked through all of these concerns of, hey, this is what we need to do, this is why, but what would be the concern to get a variance? And so, if I put words in anybody's mouth, please stop me, but a lot of Mr. Isbell's concerns were, who's going to maintain the roadway? What happens if the developer leaves? How do we pay for it? If we need to rebuild it, is there going to be an easement? Things of that nature. And then Commissioner Decker's primary concerns had to do a lot with ESD2. What's the fire marshal going to think? Is he going to be okay with the route, the specification of the road? Those things. So we went and met with Commissioner Decker, or Fire Marshal, Chance Gardner, and explained this whole process to him. He was on board with, I don't know if it's on the screen, but it's the last page of the packet that shows the second to last page of the packet that shows the proposed access route. So initially, we were trying to do a secondary access that would go up through the water plant and out. But the fire marshal said, look, and I agree with him, said, if you put your access road south of section 1, if that entire collector, the 41-foot wide collector, ever got blocked, you would have true secondary ingress and egress by going south and around. So he was on board with that route, but he had said, all-weather access road is fine, but we needed to get a geotech to come out, look at the soils, and provide a specification. So we did all that, we sent it back to him, he approved it. The only thing that he wanted is a cease work clause, so that if we don't ever maintain the roadway and it becomes impassable or unusable, then they could request us to stop work on the development until the road is fixed. And we're fine with that. So I believe that answered all of his questions. But then for Mr. Isbell's, how are we going to maintain the road? So we've got Walker County mud number 1 out here, so trailblazing the path, and they would maintain the roadway. If Forestar ever leaves, the mud still stays in effect, and you still have a method for continuing to fix the road. As an additional layer of security, we've fine with doing some sort of a bond. And what we started looking at is, I say Montgomery County, they have a very easy way of doing $1 per linear foot to come up with a bond. We started there to see what that got us, $80 a linear foot. So we bid out that roadway, this one right here, using the spec that the geotech provided. And it's about $200,000 to make it work. It's more detailed than the normal spec that we do. This is common in a lot of the other developments that we've done. So 200 grand is what it would take to build it from scratch. $80 a linear foot is 270 grand. There's a little bit of, but we also were looking at the rules and regs for Walker County. I know eventually y'all will require a 10% maintenance bond of the future permanent costs. So the future permanent cost for this roadway that we're anticipating is 2.3 million. 10% maintenance bond would be 230,000. The 270,000 that we're providing, or that we're suggesting, would cover both of those if the board is agreeable to it. In terms of access, we spoke to the MUD attorney and they said, look, I mean, you could do multiple things, but the best thing would be a private easement owned by Forestar, the developer, but made open to the public for emergency egress and ingress. This road is only ever used, I mean, it may never be used, but it's there purely for emergency purposes. And then besides, I mean, I think that was the majority of all the questions that were asked of us. We did ask the fire marshal about a gate as well. He said he'd rather there not be a gate in case there's an issue, people could just get out. But other than that, it all works. Now, time frame. That's the only thing that has a little bit of gray area. And I'll speak very highly on this. We have one more variance that will come back in a couple of weeks, but we're working with Mr. Isbell to figure out how we're going to do this. So when we're proposing doing this section 1 first, we like it just because it can all be done. It all balances. It's kind of independent of the rest of the development. While we're doing this and constructing it, we'll be working on the detention and mass grading of the rest of the development and trying to get that submitted. The current Walker County rules, though, is they only allow a plat submittal. And so whenever we do this detention mass grading, that would then mean you have to have all the water, sewer, drainage, paving, landscaping, irrigation for everything, which would really hold things up. So my issue with the time frame is if we don't get the variance, I think that roadway has to remain in place for about 4 years. If we do get a variance and can come up with some sort of a plan, I think it's more like 2.5 to 3 years. So that's why there's a little gray area on the timing, but what I would suggest is allow the temporary all-weather access road to remain in effect for 3 years until we can do all the grading and get the permanent roadway installed. That's all I have.
So I have questions.
Yes, sir.
Phase 1.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about building phase 1 first.
Yes.
2 things on that. You're gonna put the permanent access to 150 on there, correct?
Yes, sir.
This temporary road, are you gonna go ahead and build that?
Yes,
this
day one.
temporary road?
Mhm.
Will it have the, whatever you're gonna do in TxDOT, will you do that at the same time?
We will do so we can do what we need to, but right now, after talking with TxDOT, we would just do a temporary tie-in until we can do the permanent roadway. When we come to the permanent roadway, we will do the official tie-in at a later time. They just want a construction permit, which
You're
is.
talking about the turning lanes and stuff.
I'm talking about.
We are doing a right turn lane here. There are no left turn and right turns needed for this side. 87% of the development is expected to use this. side.
Okay, that's what I was getting.
Yeah,
at.
we'll do the
If it
turn
doesn't
lane.
make sense to do a turn lane here, then why you have the crew out here not do that?
Correct. Yeah, but the right side does not need it, just the
Doesn't
left
have
side.
a, for TxDOT.
It's for TxDOT and the TIA.
Trips, TIA on section 1 here,
Mhm.
right? It's 129 lots.
Yes, sir.
The TIA is gonna be much smaller than when you add the rest of this in here.
Correct.
My concern is road sizes.
Sure.
Okay,
Yep.
are we building this to accommodate the rest?
Yes, sir. So we did an analysis of the entire TIA, not just section 1, because we want to underbuild.
Yeah.
So this is a 41 collector, which is more than sufficient for the development, but the tie-in needs to be 51 feet wide, which is wider than the normal collector spec. But that's what it takes to actually get people turning in and out. But yes, well, the TIA is for the whole development. It'll be ultimately sized in phase 1.
I don't want you to build something smaller to accommodate
Neither
this.
do I.
Come back and say, we got problems.
That looks terrible on me. I don't want to do that either.
You address the bond. The bond is gonna be, now, you said several numbers on the bond.
Yes.
What is the bond? What bond are you going to ask? What are you gonna
We're proposing $80 a linear foot, which is $270,000.
for this?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
you throw out another number over there too.
Yes, I was using, just from the rules, using a 10% of the future permanent costs. So I'm expecting pavement and drainage future, to be 2.3 million of that roadway. So I took 10% to just see what that number would be. It's 230,000. It's within that 270. It's one bond. I was just trying to show that it kind of
Okay.
works in both cases.
So the 2.3 million is Be clarify with me again, is that the entire subdivision or just the purple road I'm looking?
Just the purple road in the future when we have to go actually build the pavement and the drainage along that roadway.
So why will we not bond the true cost of building a road?
And we could, it's open for discussion. We had just spoken with Mr.
I think
Isbell,
we-
just said, what do you recommend?
Learn that too.
No, we talked about just doing the cost to rebuild the access road from scratch in case we left, the mud wasn't maintaining it, and then wanted to.
That makes sure I got my straight. So
Sure,
the $270,000 bond does what?
that covers the cost of if you need to replace the all-weather access road in its entirety, as if it was entirely destroyed and the mud wasn't maintaining it.
That's a temporary road.
Yep,
Just
the
with
temporary,
rock and dirt and whatever.
yep, subgrade preparation.
But then the permanent road is the $2.3 million
Yes.
road from there all the way down to the little wastewater treatment plant or just to where it turns and goes up into section 1?
Yep, just right here,
Okay,
providing the,
so in section phase 2, I guess is,
It should, I hope, be two right there.
oh, yes.
On this map it
Yes,
is.
it connects.
Yeah,
to-
okay.
On this map it is.
Sure.
We have a better pretty.
in phase 2, you don't plan on, or whichever one, but I'm assuming you go to phase 2 after phase 1. You don't plan, there'll be no lot sales and stuff in phase 2 until that road's
Correct.
permanent.
Because we've got to do, so this is 170 acres. We got to clear all that first, start detention mass grading, when we can get all the dirt up here moved, then we can go do that roadway next. So we will do that at the same time as the home construction, most likely.
So which one are we on?
65.
So this variance B3 4.1 Andy is which one? Make sure I'm looking at it.
It's a pleasure to meet you, by the way. This is our first development in Walker County, so we're excited to get out here and get started, just trying to make sure we're following the book.
Where you gonna live at? Where you from?
I'm from Magnolia.
Magnolia, it's not too far.
No, it's too bad.
Whereabouts?
Woodlands.
Woodlands.
When is the mud going to be created?
Mud is already, go for it.
It's already created.
It exists and it's an entity and it's.
Yes,
It's
it just
not.
does not have board members yet, so that's the,
No, it does.
No, it does have.
we did get it, okay, yeah.
Okay, so the mud exists.
It
To
exists.
be able, today, they could take over maintenance of the road.
And yes.
Now, I'm gonna say this on record.
Sure.
We are not, or I am, I won't speak for the court. I am not gonna, go for next thing we do.
Yes, sir.
You do this one, if the next thing we do is not put that entrance in.
It will absolutely be that next.
It's
yeah.
gonna kill the whole deal for me.
I 100% agree with you. That would be next phase, no matter what.
Very important.
Yes, sir, I agree.
So here's from our side, I've got a few comments. So, and you have the review letter, Les, but in order, I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, but if, in order to build the road to final spec, the biggest thing in their way right now is they've got a lot of grading to get out of the way, a lot of dirt. So to build this road now as a temporary access road, I don't know that much of what you do in the temporary access road is going to be transferable over to the final road, because you're talking
Yeah,
about.
we're leaving it
high
at
ground,
elevation. we're not
leaving it at
cutting
elevation.
Yep.
And so we do not have in our possession any sort of a plan of this road. We have a general cross section.
Right.
And then that's it. So I don't know what the grades are on this road as far as ups and downs and those are important sometimes when you're trying to pull a truck full of water.
We did discuss that with,
So erosion and as far as erosion, water retention and all that will be dealt with how?
so, I'm sorry. So this roadway, just the slope of this roadway, you coming down about a 4% slope, but then we're following a natural contour, this part and this part. This is the only area where we go up against grade. And so we talked to Chance about all this and showed him the proposed grades and how we would do the elevation changes, and there weren't any concern. Essentially, the top of grade of this roadway is staying at existing grades so that we're not blocking or changing any flow paths. Now, that's based on LiDAR data. You know, LiDAR is only as good as it can be.
Okay.
If we get into the field and you find it, there's a dip, I mean, we can do temporary drainage, we will make sure 100%. I mean, that's what we do, is make
Yeah.
sure drainage works. So any field adjustment we need to do to make sure drainage can continue as it was, we will do that, absolutely.
Okay, so just so you know, we haven't seen or reviewed any sort of grading on the road for a second, or drainage plan. They're gonna get text stop permit here. Soon probably you'll get a temporary one and then convert it to a.
Yes, sir.
Round, so the other thing is, when the court. I think it was this, yeah, it was this court, when the court granted the variance. To allow this spacing between the two entrances. It was clearly communicated to court that both these entrances would be built. With section one, both be built to.
Right on University Avenue.
And at that point, this was envisioned as being section one.
That was one, right?
Right? So as part of what we're talking about today, if you approve this. Right? Then, just so you know, I will consider that you have. By approving this. Allow them out of that condition for that space and variance, but they don't need to bring that back. Because it was one of the conditions that was placed that these would both be built to county standards with section one.
Right.
This obviously is not building both of those to county standards to section one.
The spacing variance has to stay in place because the depth of length.
Yes, I understand, but I'm just saying, that was part of that variance when it was presented. Was that, as a matter of fact, I think you were one of the big proponents to make sure that
Right,
both entrances would be built to full county standards.
correct.
So this will ultimately be built to full county standards, but not at the same time as section.
Yes.
So, and that's different than what we had already done.
So does the number of houses in section one, does it call for a second entrance?
So it's very close, to be honest with you. So there's ultimately all out, yes. Our code has a couple of shelves.
Yeah,
So shelf one is anything more than, I think it's 40 lots or more. So they're definitely over that. So that requires two entrances. But then there's a caveat in the code that says as long as you're under 150 lots, you
right,
can have a 40-foot access road.
Yeah.
Instead of having two. They have a 41-foot
right.
back to back of curb, okay? The traveling lane's a little smaller than 40, but it's very close, okay?
Mhm.
So I don't know if they run an analysis, but we took a quick look. This area right here is all the 40 feet all the way back, correct?
Yes, sir.
So it'll be 40 feet to here. When you start measuring down side streets from the 40-foot road, there's a path to get to almost every lot within 40 lots.
Like one or two
I think
lots.
there's a few back here in the far reaches of this cul-de-sac that fall outside, reaching within 40 lots.
Right.
So that you would have in most cases, you would have very close to 40, no more than 40 lots down a road.
Right.
From a 40-foot road.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, I would
But
almost, for my,
it's a little outside of what we would allow, but not a lot.
see, I would almost rather variance that way. I would almost rather variance and say, being that we switched it in section one is marginal. Why go through all that other stuff and build a road that they're not gonna use and stuff like that, when section one, I'd rather say he's got 2 houses or 3 houses outside the 40 feet.
Are you guys, because my understanding is they're in the future, they're gonna be looking at coming back with section 2. Are you gonna build this full road at section 2?
And Colin, this would be. a question
Not
for you.
phase 2,
Right,
section
no, I
2.
understand. So this section and this section are two independent sections.
Yes.
That would be my question then, Colin, is
Yeah.
would we build both sections at the same time or build one and just extend the roadway? I mean, we
I mean,
can do.
it's definitely an option. We can do whatever. We'd have to
Needed.
we'd have to look at it, but it's definitely doable.
Okay,
Because folks are gonna be driving. I mean, if it's a road,
Mhm.
folks are gonna drive on it.
Sure.
You know, that's kind of what it's
So-
for. So I mean, it's not my precinct, but I think if it was me, I'd be like, you know what? I don't want a temporary road. Someone's gonna get stuck in the mud on a Sunday night in the rain. I don't want that.
We did talk about that
Yeah.
with the fire marshal as well, but he really wanted this to be there as in case, let's just say something up here, the entire 41 foot was blocked. He's like, I need something that
Yeah.
goes south of the section and around.
I would defer to our DA on on the input of the fire marshal as far as if we have a set of standards over here that we say he's within he's legal for us and
Sure.
all this. I don't know. I'm not saying that in a derogatory bad way. I'd have to defer it.
Opinion is nothing more than an opinion. It's not binding.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that it will not be some other regulation that you have to comply with.
What's your thoughts, Brian? You still make them do the second entrance, get that locked in where it needs to be, but I don't see any reason to build a stupid road through the woods.
Temporary wood
Yeah.
road?
What's it gonna, what are you gonna do with it? Who's gonna,
How many's in the?
Use it temporary.
140 lots?
In the entire blue area, it's 129 lots.
29
Yeah,
lots.
129.
If they had 10 more lots, 21 more lots,
Yeah.
21 more lots, then they would have to have a second entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're accommodating it by building a 40-foot road,
They're
or
coming.
40-foot road.
Yeah, but the 40-foot road only serves you below 150.
Yeah.
If you're 150, you've got to.
You got to have the other entrance.
And normally you have to have every lot has to be within, you can't have more than 40 lots that are on a regular standard road before it gets to a 40-foot road. They're a little off on that, but not a lot off.
Well, what I'm getting at is I kind of see Bill's point. I mean,
There's a lot of complications with the road, but it provides you a temporary second entrance. And we're all talking about temporary.
Yeah.
But in my world, sometimes temporary becomes permanent.
it does,
So
we,
sometimes people walk off from projects. This is not saying that they will, but
Yeah.
they leave projects and section one may be all that ever gets built.
that's exactly right.
Right.
Then you have
So-
some,
But what we're going back to is our engineer says GLS does not recommend approval of this variance based on the information provided, period. This is an alternative proposal, for allowing them, it provides safety to the back. Yes, the fire marshal did that and fire marshal's not our problem, but it's their problem. This is just kind of telling us what's going on so that we say, yes, you will bless it, building this one first, and when you get this done, we'll build a second one. Because our original proposal was not from them guys, but the same group that they bought. We're doing this at the same time, front half. They changed it. This is their alternate proposal to go against what we originally approved. So
The other thing is, coming up with an accurate bond amount without plans.
it's hard.
Yeah.
Estimation.
Right, and and then who do you want the bond to? Does the bond come to Commissioner's Court in case something happens, then you guys are trying to construct a road? That's another thing to think about.
and the time frame. So, I mean, the time frame from where y'all are building section 1 to whatever you're calling 2, 3, or 2A and B,
Mhm.
what is that gonna be?
So this is the one I was saying, it's got a little gray area depending on how we figure out this detention mass grading submittal. So clearing 170 acres at a day and a half per acre is about 9 months.
Yeah.
Doing detention mass grading for that same is about 8 months. And then 2 sections or a section and an extension is anywhere between 6 months and a year, depending on how you phase it. So
That's where you're
I'm
coming
thinking
up
the
with 3
absolute
years.
fastest you can get it with no issues is 2.5 years. 3 is reasonable. If no variance.
But you're not proposing putting the easement in place with a 3-year time limit. You're proposing to put the easement in place until
it's platted.
the final roads are constructed.
It would remain in.
You're
effect
just
until
guessing
platted.
it's going to be 3 years.
Correct, estimation.
So GLS said their recommendations was a bond to cover the full construction costs of the permanent full width curb and gutter roadway compliant with Walker County development standards. Second one was an exhibit showing maximum proposed cross slopes and longitudinal grades along proposed temporary access road. Third bullet point, an emergency vehicle turning exhibit showing ingress, egress, and maneuverability along proposed temporary access road. And the fourth bullet point was a maintenance plan for proposed access road to be maintained by the MUD.
Sure. So the cross slope, we've added that one to the variance before we send it in. I mean, the terrain where we're looking at is a 4% cross slope. So we put that on the exhibit, max 4% cross slope to match terrain. So we're not blocking any different flow. But
So one of the big things that you'll see in there, I've heard it called out, if you go the route of this, is that this access right here, if you try to bond final construction. Final construction will take place on a completely different grade than the one that's there. So a bond for final construction issued today will also include a whole lot of dirt removal and moving around of.
Right, you can't look at it as just a
Yes.
section.
Right, so I'm just, I think that everybody sees that, but we'll make sure everybody sees that. They do a full bond for final construction of the road according to curb and gutter. That includes the amount of money that it's gonna take to move the dirt that needs to be moved, establish the grades that need to be established, to build that road. Which is what they're hoping to do, although it's not part of today's agenda, potentially in a future application for mass grading. Over a different period of time. But right now, again, going back to the other comment, it might be, it's a court's option, but if this road would be, if you leave this out, they may still have to deal with the ESD on that road. Just because we leave it out doesn't mean the ESD can't require something under their code. I don't know what their statutory authority is, but they may have the ability to require it anyway. We're just sort of out of it. If we don't leave it out and you guys want a full bond, I don't see how they're going to get to estimate of a full bond without pretty detailed plans.
Yeah, that and I don't know how to,
And
I don't know how to keep that cost, because essentially you would have to say, well, that triggers detention mass grading of everything, so I have to do a.
And then you're throwing in the detention and mass grading cost into that bond. I don't see any, I mean, they may see a way around it. I don't know off the top of my head. So, if you bond anything more than just sort of the surface road, that's what you get into. I'm not saying that you should get into it. Obviously, it's recommended. That's what our policy would require if you were building it.
I mean,
So-
and that's a concern I have is it's March and it's pouring down rain and it's muddy and this road is a disaster. And they call the mud and they say, hey, you gotta do something to this road. And well, we don't have any money. The last thing we want to do is be the bond. Hey, you better call the county and catch that bond and come get this road fixed. That's what I'm saying. If you all you were building was section 1, you would be here saying, hey, I've got 2 lots outside the 40. Can I have that? And we would probably say, sure. Because you got the 41-foot road or just almost 40, we would say, sure. So the minute you turn ground in section 2, that road is in the picture now, but it's not in the picture for me yet. So, I mean, that's just where I'm at on it. Because I think it's something I don't want the responsibility of managing while it's just sitting over there. I mean, y'all can, as far as I'm concerned, y'all can grade it and use it as in and out road, but I don't want nothing to do with it until y'all start section 2.
It's just there for looks, really.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Now, if we leave this out completely, right? And don't have them bring back the other variants on section 1, because section 1's been completely reformulated.
Mhm.
We just need to make sure that that other variance will still hold with only one entrance getting built with section 1. And then an alternative will when the second entrance will get built. Because right now it said they're both getting built at section 1.
I think that's just a wording thing.
They're gonna come back and say, hey, now we're proposing the other entrance get built with section 2. Or whatever.
Yeah, and like I said, that's something you can come back, and I agree with Brandon, both those need to be locked in up front where they're at. Get them part there, but change the wording, get the variances aligned to where they're supposed to be, renaming phase 1, getting the variance on distance of the 41-foot road with a single access, which is within our building codes. Let them do it. The minute they stick a shovel in the ground on section 2, phase 2, you gotta build a road.
So they're not going to construct it.
And once we get all that detention mass grading, we have a lot more flexibility, put things wherever we want.
So else.
That's where I'm at. I don't want to take on an ugly puppy. We have to feed for the next 3 or 4 years while they do their stuff.
We can go talk to Chance again and just make sure so we don't get a heart
You're
attack.
not satisfied then.
Yeah, I would,
Control over it.
with the conversation that's taking place between the full court, I would suggest maybe the variance maybe be reformulated. You have a conversation with Chance and we bring it back simple as a 2 variances, one on revising the old variance for the two entrances with section one
Mhm.
to something other.
Sure.
And two is to revising this variance to just allowing for you to exceed those lot counts
Mhm.
and have it sort of stand alone. Is that what I'm hearing the court kind of?
Yeah, that's where I'm at, and I really don't know I mean, based on what Quentin said there, if a person is building within the development standards of Walker County, how somebody else can just walk in and say, no, you better put a second
Well,
roof.
I can answer that. I don't know what their authority is, but we have multiple jurisdictions with authority over everything. For example, we're regulating this project from a subdivision standpoint, but TCEQ will be regulating the stormwater while we're doing that. So
Right.
they may have their own regulations that apply to some of the same infrastructure that they have to sort of make everybody happy. They have multiple masters to serve on all their projects.
Right.
The federal government steps in when it's wetlands. And so everybody, they've got, 9 people that they're cooking for.
Right. So like us, though, he should be able to open a book to a regulation, put his finger on it and say, this is what I'm holding you to right here.
That's, again, that's outside of my field.
I agree 100% with that.
So what we're gonna do on this?
How big of a rush is this?
It's always a rush.
Yeah, we were trying to start design on this a couple months ago and have been held up because of this one. So, I mean, as soon as we can, we'd love to get cooking on
We could put it back on the next agenda if they'll be ready. We could have it on the next
2 weeks?
I know you're looking at doing mass drainage at maybe at the same time.
Right, we'd like for that one to be 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We've got our meeting on Thursday.
Go 2
We
weeks
can
now.
talk about this more.
Oh, yeah. I really like this idea, but it's not.
If all he had was the blue one, we wouldn't be having a conversation.
That's correct.
To be clear, I don't hear an objection by court if they need to construct this for another agency to be happy that we're saying they can't.
That was gonna be my next question.
I don't hear us objecting to that if the other agency requires an additional road to be built.
Correct.
Got it. So our variance is only Walker County rules and regs. If fire marshal says we need it, so be it. We'll do that separately.
Yeah, that'll have nothing to do with us.
Or you can pass this one and they can always give it back.
So if we're not going to approve today, I always prefer deny. And then let them, with the allowance of them bringing it back.
Or thoughts, Brandon?
I think it's a whole lot better option.
If you're gonna approve, I would point you to the requested conditions. Contingencies.
No, if they're gonna bring it back and just ask for the 40+1 down here in the bottom, then they just need to make it back. So we're gonna make a motion right now to deny with the bill to come back.
About having to resubmit this model.
Correct.
I'll second that.
Moving second. Any other discussion? All in favor, raise your hand.
The old variance with Chris Randy. What do we do?
We can bring that back as well.
Okay, just, okay.
Yeah, bring everything clean in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll bring it back as well.
Okay.
All right, appreciate it, fellas. Thank you.
Good.
We got one more.
We do have one more.
Oh, you got a different, that's more. Okay, sorry.
66, discuss and take action on 4-Star USA Real Estate Group Incorporated request for variance to section B 2.1 of the Walker County subdivision regulations regarding lot minimum frontage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these-
On these.
All right, so I'm gonna provide for a little
Oh,
background before you guys begin. Initially, it's for the development, of a variance request put in by the previous owner to allow for 50-foot lot frontages. And then, a request was made to 35-foot frontages with a 50-foot at the building line on cul-de-sacs, knuckles, curves. The court at that time approved it for cul-de-sacs, but not for knuckles. So, and the plan, the land plan has changed. So they're gonna talk to you about all that.
State your name for the record, please. I'm getting there, yes. Good morning. My name is Jennifer Curtis, with Meta Planning and Design. We are the land planner for 4-Star on this tract. So as Mr. Isbell said, there was, previously this project was submitted in 2022 for the rule change. Lots. So the variance was granted at that time to allow 50-foot lots. And that included on cul that the frontage, because a cul-de-sac is narrow at the front and wide at the back, frontage could be 35 feet. By the time you get to the building line, the house sits, it has to be that 50-foot width. That was granted previously. What we would like you to consider today is to extend that same variance to all lots where the frontage is curved, where it's tight to the front. So the building line, the house is still the same size, and we have a few other exhibits that we can flip through in a moment, but on this one, I'll talk first. So one of the limiting factors that the previous land plan didn't consider was the topography that Walker was talking about. There are some steep grade changes on this track, and there are some areas where a grid street pattern where all your lots are the same width at the front doesn't work from a topography standpoint. You have to curve some of your streets coming through. You have to cross at a right angle and then come back to center. So there are some areas where we need to have some curved streets. And what we can get to in a second is even on those curved streets, regardless of what the frontage is at the driveway or the curb, you can still get the same housing product on the same size lot as the building line. And actually those lots end up being bigger the backyard. So let's flip to some of the next pages where it has some lot diagrams. You can see if those lots actually get bigger in the back. That one. 3 and 1. So if the project was built on a grid, if the land was flat and it was easy to lay everything out in straight lines, all your lots would look like this. They're 50 feet at the front, they're 50 feet at the back. Square footage is the same for all of them, they're rectangular. When you start to get onto knuckles and cul-de-sacs, you start to get a very wide, what we call a pie-shaped lot, where it has a huge backyard. And so the square footage of your lot is actually much larger in that case, but it pinches at the front. And that's the variance that was granted previously in cul-de-sacs. So we want to extend that to certain knuckles, and those are highlighted in the earlier map that we showed. We identified specific lots where that was going to be applied. And the same thing moving on to a curved street. In a few cases where we have curves, we can when you're on a curve, you might be a little bit narrower at the front. This one, for example, is 46 feet, but you're going to be wider in the back. So your square footage is going to be larger than your standard rectangular lot. And you're going to have a bigger backyard for that homeowner, even though the front gets pinched a little bit. We're only wanting to apply that in certain cases. It's not the whole project. One of the sentiments that was expressed by Mr. Isbell was, we don't want to grant this as just a blanket variance. We want you to identify the specific lots. So we have done that on a previous exhibit.
Right, in the last application, they were unable to sort of lay out counts on the different type of lots, which is one of the things that was brought up the last time.
Okay, thank you. So what we're asking you to consider is there are specific places where it makes sense to have a curve or a turn or a knuckle in the street pattern because of the geometry of the site that we're working with. And in those specific cases, we want to do a lot that is the same house product as the house next door. It gets a little narrower at the front, it's wider at the back. You end up with a bigger lot overall. And sometimes a deeper lot where you have a creek or something behind you where you have that natural feature. I feel like that is as good as, and in some cases better than the current standard for spotting a rectangular lot in every case. Gives you a little bit of variety and gives some people a better backyard and just a different street scene.
So, again, our engineering firm, their response was, does not recommend approval of this variance based on the information provided. The lot layout is proposed will result in more lots, more cars, and less frontage to park them. Narrow lot frontage ultimately result in having street parking and less thoroughfare.
I'm doing.
We're at 11%.
I'm
From
doing.
your, here.
I mean, lots of
allergies.
So
We can go to the land.
Lose 30.
Just one second.
Oh, okay.
It's always like 7% of the lots.
So you understand where they're coming from. They're asking for a 4-foot shave on the curves. right?
It varies depending on the radius of the curve, but it's minimal in most cases.
So is it 46 or is it less than 46?
It could be 45, it could be 47, it could be
Well, we need
49.
to
It just
define,
depends
that needs to
on-
be defined.
Okay,
Can't be open. So it says minimum 45, so 45.
So on a typical curve per foot sound radius, it won't be lower than 45.
Okay, so what are we asking? Nothing, minimum
nothing
45?
below 45, we can
Okay.
make that work.
So then if you do a 45 foot, that's a 5 foot shave off the 50. And so you just imagine 5 foot less curb and gutter per driveway, right?
On each side.
Per
Half of
driveway.
that,
Yeah.
yes.
Right. And so that reduces, that's where they're talking about reduction, so you can kind of add that up.
How many?
10 lots at 50 foot.
How many knuckles is it? I'm counting 8. You'll know.
So the knuckles are a different
No, you
scenario
can-
than the curves.
Go back.
23 on knuckles. Then
When speaking to the knuckle,
What?
speaking to that concern on the
Which one?
knuckles.
Yeah.
Anywhere that you have a knuckle, you're going to have corner, because that's where they're used. And anywhere you have a corner, you're gonna have a side block where there are no driveways. So you actually end up with more street parking on those corner conditions than you would if it was just a straight grade.
These are gonna be private roads or you'll ask for maintenance on it?
Anything they can send a letter not to park, but obviously they can't enforce.
Yeah,
How wide are your driveways?
Typically 18 feet wide.
You can fit 2 cars on.
Yeah, so right now, our county standards is 20 foot, but it's pretty close to 18. We're setting,
If you're setting home building standards and they'll follow that, but typically.
so,
Go off a small car. Go off a small lot.
then when you look at that, that's a 20 foot pull out of the 50 foot. 18 plus whatever radius is, pull out, and then that leaves you what's left over for parking hydrants. Raining units. And so it's a 10% reduction in lot frontage on those lots. That's the point that they engineer. Because generally they're reviewing variances as either is better than what we require or as good as.
You're looking at a grid pattern, with 50-foot lot that's 50 feet at the front on a rectangular lot, you're gonna fit 1 car. You're gonna have about 25 feet from driveway to driveway. On the curves where we're not going below 45, you're losing 5 feet at the most, so you have 20 feet. of driveways. That's the definition of standard parking space. So you're not losing any curb parking. Your parking is getting a little bit shorter in those curved instances, but you still have the same number of spaces for the driveways.
But depending on driveway.
If you take out, if you refigure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these, most of this goes away. And I understand you are doing what you're doing, but you are stuffing more lots as many lots you can. On these big curves, take one of those out and spread it out. You stop on most of this. So.
So what I was trying to explain though is that like, there's not a negative impact to street parking in those areas. And there's not a negative impact to the size of the lot.
It's not to go without a variance.
Sorry?
It's not to code without a variance. And we were very clear with Chris Wren that knuckles and curves, wouldn't give him that, just a blanket variance to that.
I understand. And that's why we identified specifically where they are on this drawing.
Yeah.
There are situations where it could prove as no impact, but there are also situations depending on where the driveway is placed, what the drainage infrastructure looks like at final plan, where the inlets are at, where it could impact. And I think that's the comment that the engineer's making, is that it has an impact on the parking.
And I understand, like when you get in this bottom, it's a Yankee looking thing here. I understand that. Understanding in a deal here, but just in this curve, I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my stance.
So there's certain, we think that there are some ways that would be acceptable, but not all the cases identified here is what I'm.
Very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doing quick math, if you do kind of what Brandon said, you went to the spots where there was 6 of them and you made it 5. if that lot is 45 feet wide, that's 9 more feet and now you're over 50. So those are good. I think that could be very easily done. Even, I just did the quick math. If you went through and just combined, individual lots and made them double size, you would lose 4.7% of the lots. But doing it kind of like you're talking about, that's only 16 lots in the entire subdivision that would go away, and all the variances would go away, except maybe like 1 or 2.
Right.
You might go talking, the singles. So to swap 16 lots for bigger lots that would sell for more than the smaller lots, probably, that really cleans it up. I like that idea.
So be more judicious and where those are necessary as well.
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
You're saying be more judicious and where that's.
Yeah, like on the big bend, I can't see the color on that one, but yeah, that one right there.
Yeah.
That is, what's that, 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 13 lots there. So if you drop that to 11, now there's no compliance issues there at all. They're all over 50 feet. Actually, they're actually quite a bit over 50 feet. You're adding 90 feet to 11 lots. So that makes it work there. So I'd be with you on that one. I think that's, this one was done at 50 feet. We did give some variances, but you did dig the heels in and say that's where it's at. So I'd be more open for that.
Sounds good to me, Bill.
Yeah.
So if there were cases where we could prove that there was no impact, that, there's no hydrants in the way and driveways are gonna be spaced correctly, that there's still gonna be the same number of parking spaces on the street.
If it doesn't work geometrically, then we understand. If it doesn't work because we want more lots, it's don't work.
Yeah. Well, we had to draw a line somewhere and say, this is the lowest we want to go. This is as narrow as we want to go. And really, some of this was based on being inside the city ETJ, city of Huntsville ETJ. They allow 50 feet curb and gutter and this and that and that, this. So we're like, yeah, it's hard to whatever. So we said that, and since then we changed it. Y'all know now it's not that anymore. So, but 50 was as. And there was some
Bare minimum.
and there was a lot of grumbling about 50. I guarantee you that up here. So
I vaguely remember it.
yeah,
A little bit.
to have that many lots.
50
Go below-
foot is our current cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
This one, the project has been granted previously the 35 under a slightly different land plan, but for the cul-de-sacs. But not on curbs and.
Not on curb and gutter. So that's my thought. I think bringing back 1 or 2 that don't quite make it,
Keep one that's in curb.
because you can't get it there on your map, but these can get there. I think you had a pretty good day on the secondary road coming into it. And I think then you take a look at this and say, giving up 16 lots out of 660, that ain't all that much to make it work.
Whatever it comes out to be.
Yeah, whatever the number is, it's less than 20.
Yeah.
It's less than 20.
Yeah.
Which is 3%.
So my motion is going to be deny the variance.
I'll second your motion.
Just something we can also bring back.
Yeah, can we come back with these specific instances where there's a
With the ability to bring back
case
the
like
variance.
this?
Revise the application.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say, raise your hand.
Thank you.
Yeah.
67, discuss and take action on acceptance of bonds for Homestead Hill subdivision plat number 2022-035. Back there.
Oh, that's our map.
Mhm.
We get to get it done. Oh, this, I can see the map. Yeah, I don't know where we're gonna put it.
And keep going low.
Sorry.
What you got now?
We're reading as much in court as we are.
Huh? Went and reviewed this show?
Maybe.
You reviewed the original bond. We just received it. 30 seconds.
Hey, you putting it on us, put it on Quentin too.
Y'all can put it on quick. It's not my job to put it on quick.
I'll help you with that.
So we,
Yeah.
so we have 2 items related to Homestead, Hill One is to accept the bond, and then there's follow-up items. Plat. Not have a copy in our possession of the final bond, of the original bond. We have in our possession a copy.
Okay.
We have Mrs. Thornberry here today with us. You know, the questions are hers, she's here to answer those questions.
I think that was it.
If we
I
accept. the
think they go
bond,
together.
Oh, this is new. Oh. That's a big one.
It is her understanding that she can have an original copy to the county before close of business today.
Or tomorrow.
Or tomorrow. Oh, okay, or
Say
tomorrow.
by tomorrow then.
Okay, before close of business tomorrow. So if the court wants to approve this, it would be contingent upon receipt of the original copy
And review,
and review.
that'd be my motion to approve contingent upon receipt of the original bond tomorrow at 5 o'clock and review.
Favorable review by the
Bond's fine.
Bond's fine, so leave that off.
as long as it matches what we have.
I'll second that motion.
Upon receipt of original bond by tomorrow at
At
5
5.
o'clock. That's it.
Yes, my second.
All right, move and second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 68. Discuss and take action on approval of final plat for Homestead Hills subdivision.
So two contingencies here, one would be contingency that on the original bond is submitted. Or the last item.
Okay.
Any comments on this?
I'm going slow so Carrie can keep up.
Got it.
The second one would be that, we received an updated title report on, Friday. That to make sure that all, easements in the updated title report are shown on the plat.
When are we gonna get into, since you brought that up, when are we gonna get into abandoning? Is this in a year from now?
So generally, to abandon a road, you need to have an alternate route in place.
Right.
And so the court typically in developments does not accept roads and devote maintenance until end of the 1 year maintenance period.
Right.
And we haven't even received a substantial completion on this subdivision yet. It's getting close, but
We're getting close. Now, she owns all of the existing county road, the dirt, right, that we're gonna be abandoning, right?
That's my understanding.
Okay. Okay, never mind. That was, so what they built over the top of basically is right here. But she's gonna be the one that controls that, right? Okay. All right, what were your conditions?
So the condition, contingency relating to the bond, contingency relating to all easements on the upcoming title report being shown on the plat. There's one note on there, but we'll deal with that under the previous condition. Ownership notice at the bottom of the first page needs to be updated. They're aware of that. And it's showing Jonathan instead of her. And then when the court granted the variance to the well water report, as part of that variance request, it was that the depth that was reflected in the report they had done be reflected as a plat note. So they were going to add that minimum on that. As well. They did do the report and get a review about move on it, but the note references that a report was done, but it doesn't reference the depth. They're aware of that as well. So that would need to be.
You got those conditions, Carrie?
The original bond is submitted. Make sure all easement updates are on the plat. The ownership needs to be updated at the bottom of the plat. And I'm kind of not really sure what you're trying to word on the last one.
Well depth needs to be reflected on.
Yeah, well note update reflecting report presented to court.
My motion is gonna be approve this with these four, for those four. Bond turned in. Easement showed on plat, ownership, first page updated, lower, well depth reflected.
I'll second.
Moving seconded, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. All right, road material workshop. Ms. Cheryl?
Item number 43 on the agenda, we had tabled it until then.
No.
We set up renewal letters for, to renew this contract for, road base. In fact, it's, a washed limestone. When we initially bid it out, we didn't get any bids for it. And so we rebid it and talked to Mark Marietta and they agreed to provide it. And now they've come back and said, we can't do that. So they're not renewing the contract. And I'm asking you guys, if you need it, and if so, beat the bushes. Cause I have, and nobody is providing it. So I don't know. I'm here to ask y'all your suggestions and what you would like to do to get this material.
There ain't nothing you can do, Miss Cheryl. They're not gonna produce it for the simple fact that nobody wants to put the labor towards
Into it?
producing the material the way it's supposed to be. So
So are
I'm
we
just
just
gonna keep using what we've been using, sounds like.
Yeah.
What am I gonna worry about?
So
We're
where you
gonna have to keep using what we've been using. I mean, if they're not gonna,
But what do we, I mean,
But I didn't have time to research this one. Where we buying our grade four now over in Livingston?
or Vulcan. I mean, they've got the bid on it as far as, it's just the types. This is what is it, the type D?
This is.
Which was the clean.
grade 4 Sat B aggregate. It
Yeah,
says.
the grade 4, yeah.
Yeah, type, that type B grade.
Yeah, the B.
But we've got a supplier, they just went out, right?
Supplier. I mean, we can buy it from Vulcan, or you can buy it from, I think Bill got a bid from, and we get
Well, why
some,
didn't Vulcan bid on it?
they not this material.
Oh, okay.
Nobody wants to
different
clean,
material.
nobody wants to clean this material
Okay.
to make it work.
they don't want the washed part.
Yeah, to get a clean 3/8 rock, they have to run it again. Nobody's willing to do it.
Yeah, the stuff from
So they're
Vulcan.
not getting this material.
No,
Okay.
so we
Yeah,
can
use
get
this
something
one.
compatible and use something,
But it's not as clean.
but it's not as
It's
clean.
like the number one rock that
So-
we use.
It's like taking it back.
What about the baked clay? Have y'all, somebody bought some?
I've got some, we haven't used it yet. We were getting ready to, as a matter of fact, and then the rains came. So we have one course of number 3 rock on the ground on Echo, but I haven't put that on top of it yet. I'm able to get back to it. Looks good sitting there.
Oh, it works if you can get it.
Yeah.
You know, and
And we have-
I'm glad to hear you got some of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you got.
And we just did an exemption at the last meeting so we can keep buying it from up there. It ain't cheap.
No.
It's $90 a ton.
Is that with our?
You're buying it by the cubic yard.
By the $90 a yard.
Yeah.
It's about 70%. So it comes down to about 60 or 70, which is still
Still high.
incredibly expensive, yes.
That's,
So
leave it alone, be my vote.
we just don't do washed. We just do what we got, live in the dust cloud.
Okay.
All depends on what
You sit through all this just to hear that.
We're gonna go back to 43 then. Karen. Discuss and take action on solicitation for washed limestone. I'm just gonna pass on it.
Yeah.
Everybody good? Okay.
Thank you, though. I know you.
You tried.
Hard on it,
Joe.
Was that the materials workshop?
Yep.
That was it.
So,
Oh, I was getting geared up for the rest of rock and roll.
No.
No executive session. Any public comments? Questions from media? Commissioners Court.
he just gone.
All right, meeting adjourned at 11:18.